What's happening, everybody? This is Sean Alexander, and I present to you Finish the Game. Before Claude starts the theme song, I want to tell you some truth. We're in a sad and troubled time, and I've been bothered over these last week of shootings. And I want to remind you all that I have not lost hope in God. I have not lost hope in this country. I have not lost hope in what Jesus has done for all of our lives. There's some great things still happening in this country with great people, great police officers, blacks, whites, all over the country. And I want to make sure that we don't forget that the real enemy is always to lose hope in our fellow brothers. The real enemy is for folks never to get to the great calling in their life. The real enemy is for you to be struck with so much fear and guilt and shame and manipulation that you never get up and go be who you've been called to be. So to all of America, let's stand. Let's be who God's called us to be. Let's move in truth and love, and let's finish the game. All right, Claude, let's do it.
It's time to finish the game. Let's go.
Ball first and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Seahawks. Sean goes right, has a cut back lane, and he does. He's across the 20, the 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes. Are they going to catch him? 40, 35, 30, 25, 10, 5. Touchdown, Seahawks. What a run by Sean Alexander.
Finish the game. We gonna finish the game. Yeah, finish the game. We gonna finish the game.
What's up, Claude? How you doing, my brother?
Sean, I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing okay. You know, a tough 2 weeks, right, for our country. And so I think everybody's still trying to figure out, what's going on and how they feel and how we can all heal and move forward, man, the best way possible, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. You want to think of the 4th of July and the good things about our country being independent and everybody coming together as one, and so many soldiers. I got a lot of military people in my family, and a lot of close friends also they're in the military. And you think of that, and you think our country is moving to a great place. And and of course there's still the struggles and the trials, but man, these last 2 weeks they've been rough.
Real trying, you know what I mean? And that's one of the great things about this outlet, Finish the Game. We can look at things from what I believe is the proper perspective, the Christian perspective, try to see what God would have us all do in this in this time. And we know, NFL training camp is coming up in a couple of weeks. We great Tim Duncan, just in a Tim Duncan-like manner, decides to retire.
Yeah, just quietly. It's like, it's funny, we want to get into some other fun stuff. Tim Duncan just whispers, "Hey, I'm retiring."
And that's exactly how you would expect him to do it, right?
Like somebody like, "You heard Tim Duncan retired?"
Right.
And then so let's jump into more of his career. Let's talk about Kobe's career. Let's get into all of them next week.
Yeah, so we want to do that. Yeah, but like you said, I mean, we want to get into all that, but we'll do that later. There'll be time for that. I think there's an important discussion that is going on around the nation. I think that you've got some great points to add to it.
Yeah, we do. And then we also, and folks, please understand, we know football season is coming. I know y'all been ready for us to talk about who gonna do what. Of course, Bama gonna win it again, but football season's coming.
And we've got some great guests coming up on Finish the Game, by the way. During the football season. We already had Alpha on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's going to be live.
Yeah, we've got some folks lined up.
We're keeping it hush-hush, but it's going to be good. Both college and NFL, it's going to be good. But, man, so let's get back to the sadness of what's going on right now. I've wrote a little something, and I'm sure some people have read it or listened to it about the motive for things. We've been talking about most people really live their life moved by guilt, fear, shame, and manipulation. And I feel like this is the case of these police officers. I mean, anytime you just go shoot a black man, you got him held down. That's fear pumping through this police officer's vein. And you just kind of want to get to the place of, wait a minute. You just stereotype this guy that because he's black and he's athletic that he wants to kill you, and so that's the sad part about it, that really fear is the most dangerous thing that can motivate you for anything. It's a dangerous motive because Fear could make you go against your wife because you think she's doing something behind her back. Fear can make you all of a sudden, call out a coach or call out a boss because you think he's trying to get rid of you. Fear is the one that could make you think that you got to retaliate when no one else is retaliating. And
it's funny because fear can also motivate you to do things that may seem to be good. I mean, fear of losing your job and losing your home could cause you to overwork and stay out of the house, and absent from your family because you're working, 2 or 3 jobs, not because you need it, but because you're afraid of losing everything. And fear is a funny thing, man. I mean, it can motivate us to do all kinds of crazy things.
And, I was blessed. I had some great mentors and some great father figures and then even my mom, what's up, Mom? CJ, as they call him. My mom did a really great job of trying to instill into me and my brothers and my closest boys that lived in my house, that we should just live off truth and love.
Right.
And I try to explain that to people everywhere I go. If I'm talking about sports, we're gonna be truth and love. You know what I mean? Right. And if it's faith, it's truth and love. If it's running a radio show, it's truth and love. Hey, you know what? Can you block this guy? Tell me the truth. Okay. Hey, look, I love you. I'm gonna make you right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, this guy's been eating me up. Okay, got you. Let's go do this. Truth and love can actually help you win many battles. And I think that's gonna be some of the things that everybody in America is gonna have to go and wrestle this truth about stereotypes that blacks have about whites, whites have about blacks, the government, the courtroom. It's all these things that we'll talk about through this show. But when folks are moving off of fear, guilt, manipulation, and they're not moving off of truth, they're not moving off of love, then the best that can happen is destruction. It just depends on how long is it going to take,
and how much destruction is going to take place. And it's funny you say that with the fear thing because both I feel like because of the tensions that has happened, countless amount of times in this country, there's an automatic tension and fear between police officers and black men specifically, automatically. You know what I mean? I mean, even I have to wrestle with that when I get pulled over. Okay, I'm automatically reaching for the phone to record what's about to happen, make sure my license, and I'm already kind of tense anyway. And cops are that way too. Some cops are already tense in that situation, and it's all because everyone's afraid that something's going to blow up and someone's going to get hurt. And it comes from just experience. You know what I mean? It comes from the black man's experience, because I don't know anyone who doesn't have a messed up story from an interaction with police. And also the police are afraid. I mean, there are some who are afraid because they may have had some bad experiences with people that, the community that they're trying to serve. And so it's all this tension built up into this one encounter, and it takes one thing to make it, explode.
I mean, the truth is if you're a cop and you're white and you walk up on a black person and he's fidgety and he's scared, now you scared, so we get that, you know what I mean? We get that,
Right.
And so you're like, well, what do you do if you get a person? I mean, like if a black cop walked up on a guy and he was white and he was like looking like he was crazy, we would just label as crazy, you know what I mean? But we don't know, and so what I just think that once again, there's been so many racial profiling that's gone on when it comes to cops with black men in cars that you got to just bring the truth. Well, what is this really about? And I mean, even me, it's as humble as you can say it. I've been famous since I was 16, you know what I mean? And so, but still, if I get pulled over, I'm still like, okay, now how do normal people put their hands on the steering wheel? You know what I mean? I got to be real with that. I'm like, man, sometimes I see a cop behind me and I'm like, would he pull me over? And then if he pulls me over, will he recognize that I'm Sean Alexander? I hope so. I'm over here hoping that he hopes that he remembers that 10 years ago I played with a pigskin. You know what I mean? What is going on with that? But it's the truth is man, I have seen it. I've had cousins be like, man, I got arrested. I didn't even do anything. And and so you got to just wrestle with that. But at the same time, I was just taught by my grandma. She used to, God bless her soul, and she's passed now. But she used to say, nah, you can't live like a victim.
Right.
And so I think that's a piece of it that, you got to hold your head up high and put your shoulders back and speak clearly, but not like you want to put the police officer in his place, but like speak clearly with him with no fear.
Right.
But at the same time, the police officer has to come in, not trying to go show that he's tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Police officer come to you and, what you got going on? If they come to you incorrectly, then now we've got, once again, that intensity coming out. And
somebody's got to diffuse it in the situation, and if everybody takes it upon themselves to kind of be the diffuser.
Yeah.
Hopefully you would hope and expect that cooler heads would prevail in all of those situations, and it's interesting because one thing that often bothers me in these situations is the knee-jerk reaction for folks to just kind of jump and try to and seemingly oversimplify what happens in each situation. If you have a tendency to think that all cops are evil, then everyone's saying they're out
crazy
hunting black people in the streets. These cops, they scream that on television.
Right.
Or if you want to jump on, then folks will jump on the side. Well, if black people would just calm down, then cops wouldn't. Or if they wouldn't commit so many crimes, then cops. They oversimplify it and generalize so much with the fact that what we see happening is like a mix of so many different social, economic, educational ills that result in these moments and in these stereotypes and in these things that we face in culture society. It's not just one thing. And we rush to label it as this.
Yeah.
And every situation is different. Everything has different things mixed into it.
It's really sad.
And we can't deny, like you said, we can't deny the fact that the black experience in America
is kind of real.
Is way different than the white experience.
It is, and I think that we have to bring that to the table, and that's that truth that I was talking about earlier. But I was just thinking about like some of my friends that are mixed. I feel like it's always sad that we try to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Right. I just think it's sad. I think that if a cop shoots another person, shoots a black man, that we all of a sudden want to make every cop evil.
Right.
And I also think it's sad that when a black man is selling drugs on the side and he gets caught, that every single white person thinks that every black man is selling drugs.
Right.
I'm not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I'm not going to put every cop as he needs to be a criminal, and I'm not going to put every black man, because I'm one of them, that has never sold drugs, or done any, what I mean? What are we talking about here? Like, it makes no sense, but I feel like that's what society likes to do. Well, if you like this about this person, then you can't like that. I'm like, nah, there's some things I love about church, and there's some things I don't love about church. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know what? But I ain't gonna say, ooh, I don't like the way y'all don't mentor people. Yeah. I don't like the way y'all get people across the line about making a confession of their faith, but then you don't train them up how to be a weapon for Jesus.
So I'm done altogether.
No churches I like. I can't throw out the baby with the bathwater. So there's some things that some buildings or some churches I go to, and I try to teach that if they give me that platform. But I'm not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And I just think that, unfortunately, I'm just thinking about my mixed friends, and some of them are family members to me, brothers, And I'm thinking to myself, like, it's really weird, because I've never thought about their shoes with this situation. Well, what do they do when all of a sudden they walk in and a group of their black friends is standing over there, and people are like, yeah, no, we're not talking about you, we talking about them. And they're like, what? Or what do you do if their friends or even their kids are a little lighter skinned than everybody else, and then they don't feel like they're black enough, or they're not black enough to get labeled as something weird.
Because I never thought about that dynamic until I saw this video, maybe someone shared it with me on Facebook, about, it was labeled, like, it was titled, I think, weird things that mixed people hear, or something like that. And someone said something like, people ask me, what are you? And like, they found that, like, why would you ask someone what are they, just because you can't kind of tell whether they're white or black? And we say we want this world where color and race doesn't matter. Not that we don't see it, but it doesn't matter in how we judge people. But then you see someone who truly is mixed, and you're like, well, what are you?
I need to stereotype you.
Yeah, it was so quick.
I can't tell the way you wear that polo shirt. Can you tuck it out a little bit more so I can figure out what I want to stereotype you as?
And so it like you said, we're so quick to label people and situations, and everything has to be this, or it was this kind of encounter with police. So that, I mean, and this time around, like, normally when it comes to commentary and giving an opinion, I'll give it, but this time around I was just so so just I guess saddened by the rush to judgment, and then the violence in Baton Rouge and Minneapolis, yes, but then also Dallas, Dallas, and then it all happened so fast, and it's like, and everyone's just jumping to corners, and I'm like, come on, guys, we're better than this, America. We should be better than this. Christians. We're better than this. We don't need to jump to sides. We don't need to point fingers and hate each other. How about we all, no matter what color you are about, like you said, truth, love, fairness for everybody, and that's the side we get on.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not scared to say, hey, this court system did this wrong. You know what I mean? Like, everybody still, was I watching the 30 with OJ?
Right.
Man, okay, that was wrong. Okay. But then I'm looking at the young man from Vanderbilt, the swimmer from Stanford. I'm like, what we doing here? Like, let's get the court systems to make fair be fair. Like, and hopefully, God forbid my kids ever get in trouble. And you already know, I know people in positions that probably could help them in situations. But at the end of the day, like, I'm trying to teach my sons to earn their name.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to teach them that there's going to be consequences for their decisions. And, and I just remember, of course, I was a single parent family, and my mom used to always say, like, y'all get in trouble, she says to me, and Duran, my true blood brother, and then Ray and Joshua and Brian, she said, you boys get in any trouble, I'm going to bail you out once. You know what I mean? After that, you get to keep what you get. You know what I mean? You're going to earn what you get. And I'm trying to raise my sons to earn what they get, And I feel like because our court systems have been hoodwinked, tricked to thinking that the favors actually do good for society, we are creating generations of people that are not wanting to earn what they get. So they want the free hand. People want to do wrong and say, well, it's okay. They're one of them.
Get off.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you don't have to take ownership for anything.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, like, what happens if we create a society that what you kill, you eat? You know what I mean? What you work for, you get to enjoy. If you work hard, you're going to get some fruit, and you get to eat the fruit. What happened to our country where that is? And I feel like it goes back to the government and the court system. Of course, we just seen that Hillary's off of her. She's going to be not put to prison for that. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Am I for Hillary? Am I against Hillary? You know what? I'm still walking through all the processes. But I do know this: if you committed a crime, you should be punished.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'm not sure if I had sensitive information that I let go on my servers, whether not the government would let me off.
Hey, you send an email about me, I'm firing you. You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about here? Like this is what I'm saying. Like it goes from the top all the way down.
All the way down.
When is it that the laws are not the laws? The laws were made to protect the people and have everybody have a standard. Which you already know, I teach about fatherhood all the time, about fathers. Create a standard for your family, for your household, for you and your wife, for your kids. Have a standard for how you guys do things. I teach this to young men all over this country. Have a standard that's going to be like, hey, like, we can't even group you with this. Why? That's not even how you do.
Right.
Well, our country's standard is if you have enough money, if you have enough power, then you actually don't really have to deal with the law.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? That creates the big problem. And that's where black folks are still offended. Wait a minute.
Sure, right.
This cop has the power, and so now he doesn't even have to uphold the law, which means that if this one guy, I'm not labeling all the cops, but if this one cop gets excited, he has the power to no longer have rules.
Yeah.
Where would he get that from?
Right.
We have to go back to the truth and say, wait a minute. This ain't the truth. The truth is, if you do wrong, you're going to be punished for wrong.
No matter who you are.
No matter who you are.
Fair across the board.
And then that's where I'm saying, like let's get to this point. Like, let's have society where truth is truth. You know what I mean?
Right.
what they say, you kill the Joe, you make some mo. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's if you drink all the coffee, you got to make another pot. That's what that means for some of y'all. I know y'all didn't get that.
You're listening to Finish the Game with Sean Alexander. I'm Claude Jennings in studio with the 2005 NFL MVP, Sean Alexander, talking about what has been just a really tough 2 weeks for the country, and a few things that we've just outlined in review. Sean has talked about, motive. Don't let fear be your motive to do anything. Cops, civilians, no matter what. When we operate in fear, it does nothing but escalate the tensions. So let's not have fear motivate us, but let's operate in truth. Let's operate in love. Also, let's not deny what is injustice in this country.
That's right.
And just because you acknowledge the injustice doesn't mean you're saying everybody. Don't, generalize. And I'm not saying that everybody's bad, but there's some injustice going on in this country, and there needs to be a fair playing ground for everybody. You know what I mean? And so don't be in denial, and the motive, operating truth and love, and things like that. Just some of the stuff we've covered already.
Yeah, and I would just like to say to my white family, and I call everybody family, I would say this, and I've mentored many white young men that are, some are great businessmen, some are pastors, some are fathers, some are great husbands, some are businessmen, some are execs, some are bus drivers, some are truck drivers. They've done it. They've done it all. And I would just say this, and this is what a lot of them, everybody's been talking and sending messages to me, and I'm just like, you know what? People that are white just can't ignore what's not in their face. So that's the thing. You can't ignore it. You gotta be one that says, wow, this is happening. What can I do, or what am I doing to make this seem normal when it's not? You know what I mean? If there's some stereotypes and some racial profiling, it's easy for them to say, well, man, my spiritual mentor is Sean Alexander. He's black. No, you still ignoring the mess if you don't talk about it with your other friends. I just think that always has to be brought up. Like, wait a minute, this needs to be talked about. Where am I stereotyping black men? Where am I stereotyping black families? I remember when one of the boys I met, he must have been in college, and he used to always come by the house, and I just got him to tell you, I wanted to punch him in the face when he said this, but he said, man, I really enjoyed meeting your wife, and an amazing, strong black woman who just loves God and loves people and just willing to help others. And he said, yeah, and he was white, and he said, yeah, like, it's kind of weird, like, the only black woman actually, this is back in the day now, the only black woman I could actually think about when I was seeing her was Little Kim. I told you I wanted to punch him in the face. I did, but I had to forgive him. I had to forgive my heart. But I was like, you mean to tell me that when you thought of black women, the only one, and now you know how far ago that was, so what poster he's thinking about, you know what I mean? I'm like, was Little Kim? You know what I mean? Wow. Grandmamas. Mamas,
So you don't think about Claire Huxtable?
Yeah, Harriet Tubman. Come on, just
about Little Kim.
Yeah, wow. And so but what I'm saying is like, and this.
But that's one of those layers when we talked about, when we talked about that, we can't generalize the issues. I mean, like, so many things are put into this recipe that gives us what we have. I mean, some of that, the society, the social things, the things we choose to glorify. We talk about that all the time. I mean, I think, what was it, last show we talked about an Instagram message you got from someone talking about what song should they listen to. But see, these are images that we see on television. Yeah. And the more and more we see some of the images of what people would consider pop culture, images of black people, and we embrace some of those images, and they're not the most positive. People who don't know you will automatically associate you with that.
Yes.
Would associate a black woman with Little Kim if that's all that they know.
That's all they know. And
as opposed to Condoleezza Rice.
Correct. Like, really? You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so, like, that the battle for many white people when it comes to black men would be like, oh, well, this black man's probably womanizing. I got 8 kids, and most questions most people say to me, with one woman? Right. And I want to look at them and be like, okay, once again, Lord, let me not punch folks in the face. You know what I mean? Like, why would you assume that it would not be with one woman? Yeah.
Oh, they're shocked that it is. And they're like, wait a minute.
Then the thing is, thing that really gets me fired up is when they say, no way. Yeah. What are you saying? What are you saying?
Black man, football player, 8 kids, no way in the world. Is
Right. No, you're pulling my leg. No, like, like we got to get out of the stereotypes. And I'm not going to accept the fact that my life and me being a husband and a father who loves my wife and loves my kids and am faithful, that I'm a unicorn. Mm-hmm. That is a lie that society must break.
Right.
And that is more common than not. Mm-hmm. It's just that the TV has showed a lot of people that are drug dealers and athletes and womanizers, and they've put all that on there that's normal. That's not normal.
And we have to not accept that. Not accept the message that it's normal, but not even accept the people that show that. Not accept those examples. You know what I mean? I don't even want to get on a rant about, certain movies or television shows or music artists, but if they are promoting the stereotype that we protest in the street for, maybe we should protest their product.
Correct.
Say, as long as you keep, showing in this movie or showing in your songs, black people killing each other in the streets, selling drugs to each other, talking about sleeping with all these women with no commitment to any of them.
Right.
I'm not going to buy your stuff.
Yeah.
Because that is helping people see all of us in a way that is detrimental to society.
Or they're making it feel like that's cool. So I can't tell you how many young men that live in the inner city that I've, and then so back when I was young, when I was still playing Seattle, I would get me and some of the boys and we go play basketball in some of the inner cities. And we just go, hey, y'all get 5, we gonna see. Now, of course, they didn't know some of my boys were college athletes that we would crush people. I'm just saying. But by the way, but I'm just saying, like, somebody has to tell them that is not what's cool.
Right.
And I remember, some of the government people, I was hanging out with Joshua Dubois, and I remember when years ago they were talking about the plan of not making smoking cigarettes be as cool. Mm-hmm. You don't see Joe Camel no more. Right. They had a real plan to say, hey, we're not going to make this cool, and now we're not even going to make it really acceptable to be able to just smoke freely wherever you want. Mm-hmm. They had a plan to no longer make cigarettes cool, and you don't see it. I'm not saying people don't smoke. Some people do, but you don't see it all over everywhere where the common average person thinks, oh, smoking's all right, it's not that cool. They've made it look the exact opposite with those truth campaigns and all that. After a while, we have to come up with a plan to not make foolishness look like it's cool for black men.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
And white people, white family, white Americans, I'm just telling you all, don't accept the lie that some of the TV and movies have shown for black men as that's the truth. That's not the truth. And then also black men, young black men especially, don't you accept that lie that that's you. And even more, don't you go follow up and try to make that real for somebody. That does not make you cool. That does not make you hip. That does not make you anything but a person that is now fallen into a program that will make you a slave to whatever they want you to be.
Right. And you were an athlete, athletes, rap, R&B artists, whatever, how about you pitch it a little higher with your message?
Yeah.
Use your talent and your gift to inspire to greatness and to do good. I understand that a lot of times the excuse is, well, I'm just rapping about what I've been through. Or I'm just rapping about what I see. Okay, but how about rap to inspire people to be better?
Yeah. And
to not have to go through what you went through. Pitch it higher.
Yeah.
You have the right to rap about whatever you want to rap about.
That's right.
And, is it your fault that somebody may listen to it and try to, should their parents pay closer attention? Absolutely, their parents should pay closer attention.
Without a doubt.
You have the platform. Why not do something greater and better with your talent than to preach or to teach or to rap down?
Yeah, because I'm not wanting any rap star to go be somebody else's parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's me. If my boys hear your music, I'm gonna be shocked. But I'm just saying they will eventually. But it ain't gonna be because I'm just making that a part of the normal stream of the house. You know what I mean? So I ain't telling you to go be their parent. But what I'm saying is there was a time where godliness, where being a man, being a black man was something solid, and you wanted to be that.
Right.
And everybody had at least one song that would actually give thanks to God or give thanks to family. Mm-hmm. That one song would carry them, and I still remember "Keep Your Head Up" by Tupac. You know what I mean? We couldn't listen to a lot of Tupac in our house, but I had that cassette tape. Watch it now, watch it. I had that cassette tape, and it just it reminded me, like, okay, you know what? There's something bigger than gangbanging. And I used to tell people all the time, if Tupac and Biggie got to live older, I would almost guarantee that they would have a different message. They would almost be like, yeah, you know what? This wasn't quite what we thought it was going to be. I feel like they would say that. And you know, unfortunately, they died, you know, victims to the game that they were singing about. So once again, they earned what they got, which is sad because them brothers had a gift of making music. And, you know, but I think that once again, it goes right back to what I'm telling all my black family. Don't accept this negative stereotype. That is not who we are. I'm saying this to my white family. Don't accept some of the images that society is planting on black men. You ain't got to be scared of black men. Black men want to raise up, find a beautiful wife, have some beautiful children, have a great job, impact the world, and impact their community. We all got the similar goals, but because of some stereotypes and some foolish thinking, we now all of a sudden fear each other, and we walk ourselves into unifying over something foolish instead of unifying over something that would bring great glory to God, great glory to our country, and great glory to our communities.
Wow. You're listening to Finish the Game. I'm Claude Jennings. He's Sean Alexander. We're just really just trying to flesh out what we think and how we feel about this, about the state of the country. Of course, the shooting of the unarmed black man in Louisiana, the shooting of the armed but had a permit to carry concealed in Minneapolis. Just tragic, horrible stories, and just other, and those are just two more examples of just police brutality against blacks in America. We're not afraid to say it. I mean, it is what it is, but we're also not afraid to stand up and say we don't label all police officers that way.
That's right.
And that is part of a bigger discussion that we have to have in this country. And then also, of course, the 5 police officers murdered in Dallas at the hands of this guy. And that, you know, that obviously is not acceptable on any level at all. And so we're just trying to flesh out those feelings. I mean, and what I love about this platform and this show is that, you know, sometimes we come down and we've got topics, boom, 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 bullet points, and we run down it. This is one of those things we just got to kind of breathe a little bit, let the show breathe some, and just talk about your feelings and emotions. And Sean's just got some great messages for Americans to kind of listen to. Man. So we talked about, you know, in the black community, white community, we talked about artists and entertainers, but I know you all had some stuff for law enforcement too. And
yeah, you know what? I just want to always remind the law enforcement that we believe in you all. We really do. I think that as a society, we don't think that police officers should just be disappearing. No, like we know that y'all have a job to do, and there's many, 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 many that stand for truth and justice, and we love that about you all. I've seen police officers, you know, from my young days being football coaches with us, from police officers escorting our teams to being security for me at Bama, and then all the way on through to Seattle and even in Washington, D.C. And I've just seen many great police officers be willing to put their life on the line to have people live in peace. And so we believe in you all, and we think that, you know, just because the bathwater is dirty right now, that we can't throw out all the babies. Right. And I would just say that, you know, with all you police officers, all you all law enforcement, even all you in military that have to take on some of the tougher jobs for our country, just continue to trust that the truth is the truth. And I think that as long as you can lay your head down and say, you know what, I gave it my best. I did everything with integrity and with honor for God, for my country, for my community, for my citizens. I think that we'll all be happy with that. But I do also think that at the same time, all police officers, you know that you're going to hold yourself accountable. I was just thinking about, you know, one of my state trooper buddies, you know, he drives the roads and it's very intense, you know, and, you know, you see people arguing and, you know, he doesn't know if he walks up on this car, is the guy going to be upset or so scared that he's going to shoot at him. And so we get that. We get that as a society, and all the viewers that are listening, you know, understand that the police officers, they have a great pressure on them to be loving and forceful at the same time, to be direct and have a standard, but at the same time not be so frigid and scared that they do something incorrectly. And so I just think that there has to be this healthy balance of how we view police officers, and then also police officers understand that standard that you have keep it at a high level,
Right.
so that no one can confuse your good for evil. And
Right.
I think that when you do that, it makes everybody well, and like I said before, court systems, do your job, let everybody have a standard that we all can lay our hat on.
Right.
And we'll, Americans will stand proud if we know that this is it. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah, well, what I hope happens too, man, and maybe this time is different. I don't know, but we always say that. Maybe this time things will be different. But that people won't, walk away thinking someone else is going to make a difference. You know what I mean? Even if the difference you make is in your neighbor's life or in your apartment complex. You know what I mean? Have a meeting at your apartment complex or in your community at the house, in your developments or wherever, in your neighborhoods, or get involved in a community meeting or in a district meeting all around the country, just to talk to your neighbors and talk to law enforcement, talk to people about, let's make things better. If it's just one kid that you take under your wing and you mentor, like Sean's been talking about that he does with so many, maybe doing that makes a difference, mentoring someone, maybe helping someone who seems to be going the wrong way, find something to do to make it better, because, when you look at from the two police officers shooting those guys, and then 5 police officers dying and getting shot in retaliation, it's just mind-boggling what could happen if things spiral out of control.
Yeah.
But it's on us. It may be the reason that we haven't seen so much change is because we need to be more proactive. It may mean we don't need to, watch some of these, reality TV shows and Real Housewives of this,
or at least not try to make them your reality.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Maybe it means
some of them folks ain't gonna give up their show now. But maybe if you don't think that has to be your life, that don't have to be your reality.
Yeah, maybe put down some of the less serious stuff and spend an hour or two each week on something that's a little more serious. Maybe that's what it is, being more involved. But hopefully, once 2 or 3 weeks pass and these aren't in the headlines anymore, that people aren't back to, reality shows being the most important thing in life anymore, but it's really family and community.
Really family.
People,
You know what? And I want to send a little message before we leave. We're out of time. And then I just know that to my Jesus family, I just think that we have to set a better standard. I just think that if you get around me and my family and my friends, you're going to see love. And you're going to see truth. And there's going to be stereotypes that I have about people, but it's going to be honest. And so it's not going to be in anger or fear or guilt. I'm not going to hide it because of guilt or shame. I'm not going to try to manipulate folks so I can feel a little bit better about myself or make you feel better about stuff I don't even believe about you. It's just truth. You know what I mean? And then when we have truth put on the table, then everybody has a shot to be successful. And so I feel like Jesus family, we're not honest with each other about our own walks with the Lord a lot of times. Wow. And so we ignore it. And then we expect people, then we're shocked when we're just as messy as the rest of the world. And I'm like, Jesus family, let's go. Let's move in real truth. And let's not try to love each other without truth.
Right. Well, that's good because it's hard to.
It's impossible.
Because it's impossible to love.
Yeah. Well, what you do is without truth, you try to love an image that you want to see.
Yeah.
And so what happens is you got a young man that's struggling with his walk with his girlfriend, and instead of you saying, "Come on, son, maybe y'all should break up until you're ready to get married," you'll be like, "Oh, boys will be boys at their age." Nah, you know what? You got an image that ain't godly that you want to believe in, and I'm just saying. You know what, Jesus family, church family, let's bring truth to the table. Yeah. If you want a goal for this week, why don't you try to get around somebody and just be lovingly honest to them and just say, you know what, maybe you ain't got it yet. Because I think that's the saddest thing when I speak to young men in their early 30s or in their late 20s, and you watch their life and they think that they've been walking in this relationship with Jesus, but they ain't got it. They don't really want it. And no one's ever told them, that ain't it. Like if you say you a Laker fan and you don't know who Magic Johnson or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is,
you ain't got it.
You ain't a Laker fan. You know what I'm saying? Right. You a Seahawk fan. You don't know who Marshawn Lynch is. Yeah. You ain't a Seahawk fan. You know what I mean? You're a Redskin and they say Kirk Cousins. Who is he? You ain't a Redskin fan. Right. You know what I mean? Well, you got people that would say that they are one with Jesus. and they don't know Jesus. They can't tell you nothing about him except he might have died and rose and he might have walked on water, you know, and I'm just saying, like, no, like, I want you to be you. You do what you do. But, like, let's grab the right title. And, like, family, help people grab the right title so they can actually have truth, so then they can make a real choice.
Wow.
And I think that if we have some people in love giving people truth, then we can all, with great faith, great perseverance, we can learn how to love each other. We can learn how to love the people that don't know the Lord. We can learn how to love police officers that do wrong, citizens that are doing bad things in the community. We can learn how to love them to truth. And guess what? Some people are still not going to choose to do truth and do things the right way. Then they can say, all right, court system, we've tried our best.
Right.
Now you can do what you do, but do it in the right way. And not just put black men in prison because that just seems like everybody should go into prison. No, not all of them. You know what I mean? Right. But there are some that they need the consequences of their doing. And I just say, like, you know, church family, if we do right, Jesus family, if we actually follow the ways, if we're walking in truth and love, we can get a lot of this stuff fixed. Wow. You know, and I was just and I end with this, and this is totally off the topic. I was just thinking about the homeless, and you know, in our family, we always try to do bring food to homeless shelters and get clothes and stuff like that for kids that are just down and out. And I was just thinking to myself, like, all right, church building, church facilities, if we actually wanted truth and we use those buildings to just house the homeless. I mean, there's tents all up and down Seattle, all throughout DC, people living in the doorways of buildings, and church buildings are empty.
Right.
And I'm just saying, you want to give somebody a job and really do some work, let them have the job in your church to help take care of all those people that are living on the streets. And let's truly love and let's have truth about what our church is really used for. I think all these things actually bring us to reality of people can be flawed, but us as the body, we can actually make a real difference. Yeah. And so with all that, I love you all. On behalf of Claude Jennings, the producer extraordinaire, Jesus wins. Let's finish the game. God bless America.
We gonna finish the game.